Good evening, everyone. I'm Alan Joins, Mayor of Winston-Salem, and I call to order this January 21st meeting of the Winston-Salem City Council and ask the city clerk to call the roll, please.
Councilmember Joyner.
Present.
Councilmember Clark. Here. Councilmember Andrew Bowen.
Here.
Councilmember Scipio.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Adams.
Here.
Councilmember Taylor.
Present.
Councilmember Hall.
Present.
And Councilmember Burke.
Here.
Thank you very much. Would you please join the City Council and me in a moment of silence? Thank you. Would you join the City Council meeting in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Our Sergeant at Arms tonight is Lieutenant Brian Ashley. Thank you for being with us. And the Fire Marshal with us tonight, Bradley Watson. Fire Marshal is here over there. Thank you for being with us tonight. I'd like to call on Mr. Pat Pate for the City Manager's update.
Thank you, Mayor. A couple things tonight, but I wanted to start first by asking Transportation Director Jeff Fansler to come up and give a brief update on some actions that we've been taking along Brewer Road, which has gotten some publicity lately.
Okay. Mr. Fansler.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, members of City Council, Jeff Fansler, Director of Transportation. Real briefly, I wanted to just highlight a couple things along this corridor. And as you may have all been aware, or you may have seen some communication back and forth, our department has received a number of inquiries about pedestrian accommodations and improvements around Parkland High School, indicated on your screen by the Parkland Mustang logo, just to orient yourself. Just at a high level, I wanted to highlight just a couple things that we're working on. And I'll start kind of plan right, what is project BL0018. Wanted to highlight that project as a funded sidewalk project that was funded through our MPO. And that project, we being staff, are developing the scope for that project. It will be a 5-foot sidewalk on the east side, on the west side of Brewer Road, and it will go from that roundabout there at Buchanan Street down to West Clemensville Road. It's about 3/4 of a mile worth of sidewalk. That project gets funded, and we're starting work on that project now. The two other sidewalk projects I wanted to highlight really briefly are shown there in purple and in orange. Both projects have been developed by our staff at the City of Winston-Salem DOT and submitted to the MPO for funding consideration for a number of years. As noted by the note there, unfunded, these routinely they score well, but as we all know, funding for pedestrian improvement projects is limited, and that's based on the SGI law. But and just the funding availability from the state and federal government in each call for projects. But at large, we have for many years produced and provided these two projects as high-scoring projects from our city to be considered for funding. And we'll continue to do so as a documented need for pedestrian improvements along this corridor, both Brewer Road and Peters Creek. Highlighting briefly that BL 191689 shown in purple would install sidewalk there from the pool right there at the park across Parkland High School frontage over across Peters Creek to South Park Boulevard. And then, Old Salisbury Road, I apologize. And then shown in orange, that project would, of course, install sidewalk on the east side of Peters Creek Parkway, there from Brewer Road south to South Park Boulevard. Those two projects, as noted, are currently unfunded. But I'll highlight one project that we're currently working on and coordinating with NCDOT. That's shown in yellow. So notice the sheets there that I've highlighted in green as well. That's a new development that's going in on the west side of Peters Creek Parkway. And as part of that site plan development process, that they are including some sidewalk infrastructure and ADA curb ramps at the intersection. That opens the door for the connectivity of sidewalk, where we do have a sidewalk there right at the intersection and along Peters Creek Parkway on the east side of Peters Creek Parkway. So long story short, what this allows us to do is to do an intersection improvement project, a small scale targeted pedestrian accommodation that would provide protected pedestrian traffic signals, push-button actuated, where you could cross Peters Creek Parkway at the protection of a traffic signal. NCDOT has approved that project. We are developing that scope right now and coordinating closely with Sheets Development to make sure that their infrastructure can accommodate the future improvements that we'll make, and that will provide a very distinct protected traffic signal to cross Peters Creek Parkway. There's a lot more detail I can't provide, and we're still looking at ways to make this more safe and more efficient, and there's a lot of work still to do ongoing, no doubt about that, but I'll pause there, Mr. Mayor, and ask for any questions.
Do you have a time frame for these pedestrian traffic signals?
Yes, sir. So NCDOT, of course, is the custodian of Peters Creek Parkway. They maintain it, and that traffic signal will be designed in Raleigh. I expect a couple months worth of design work there. As soon as that design hits our office, we've partnered with them, and our crews will be actually going out there and do the actual work and installing those. And so that's a 30-day project. It's small, so we're hopeful that by the summertime that will be fully built and then ready for opening school season in August.
That's good news. Any questions, Mr. Fansler?
Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Jordan?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We talked about understanding that this is to try and keep the kids as safe as possible and also to slow traffic so that the folks on Brewer as well as on Peters Creek Parkway are aware that there is a school there.
Sure.
What about signage?
So it's a great question. One of the things that I didn't mention, but to your point, is obviously Parkland being a high school, that is an ordinance to make sure they are designated a school zone that has an array of school signage. One thing that I don't have the details tonight, but I'm happy to provide, is that our staff is reviewing all approach routes to make sure they're properly designated with school signage, to make sure that's properly deployed and out there. I just don't have that report tonight available, but that's something that I can follow up to make sure that that school zone is properly designated and visible by the community.
Because I know one of the concerns was that folks were concerned that students would be crossing the street.
Sure.
And so as long as we can have something to have people pump the brakes, and I think that the proposed crossing signage that you, crossing lights that you're talking about, I think that will go a long way. So I appreciate your efforts on that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Marcipio?
I am so familiar with this area. I drive out there. I do drive outside my ward, thank you. And people are walking out there all the time. Just for clarity, the purple unfunded, is that city funding or state funding?
So unfunded is the project, we've identified this project, and we've submitted it for consideration through the MPO where we are allocated dollars. And what I'm saying is there's no money available and it didn't score quite high enough to be considered for funding. So at this stage, it's no federal dollars available. And for all intents and purposes, there's no local match either for that project.
The yellow part, is it part of the orange funding or is it part of the Sheets development and it's going to go probably first before the purple or the orange?
That's a fair question. I just put enough colors to make it confusing. How about that?
I love it.
The yellow really is just indicate that project, and so the city, this council allocates traffic safety money every year. And so we've obviously identified this as a need. And so we have the internal city. So when I say this is a committed project, it will be built by city forces being our allocated traffic safety budget.
And that will go fairly soon.
That was that August deadline we're targeting to make sure it's
that's at
deployed before
Okay.
school start. That's correct.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Fansler. That's good news moving forward. Thank you. Mr. Pate, you have others?
Yes, sir. I want to thank Jeff for that and just reemphasize that they have been working on sidewalk projects, pedestrian projects in this community for a long time. This has been a project that's been on the books for quite some time by our transportation folks, and they're continuing to try to look forward to move forward and get funding available to do this and many other projects across the city. Your legislative agenda also includes a proposal to try to enhance pedestrian and bike funding as well. So you'll talk about that again on Friday. A couple of other announcements that I wanted to make is one is the Budget and Performance Management Department has released the 2025-26 request for proposals and funding applications for community agency funding. That was on January 6th. So there's two separate RFPs available, one for local funding, which is out of the City General Fund, and one for intergovernmental funding, which is our community development block grants, home investment partnership, housing opportunities for people with AIDS, and Emergency Solutions Grant and Rapid Unsheltered Survivor Housing. So there's several different ones that are out there, depending on what criteria people are at. Applications are due at the end of this month, Friday the 31st at 5 p.m., and details are on the city website for any groups out there that are interested in those funding. A couple of events. Neighborhood Services is partnering with the Piedmont Triad Regional Council to host a housing summit on February 27th at the Benton Convention Center. I know some of you have been looking for this for a long time. The summit will feature a variety of speakers representing stakeholders from around the region, including keynote speaker Patrick Bowen, who's the president of Bowen National Research, who will present the Carolina Core Housing Needs Assessment Study. I think we also have a couple of good speakers from the School of Government. The registration is required and is available on the PTRC website. And we mentioned this at the last meeting, but the Winston-Salem Forsyth County point-in-time count will occur on the evening of Wednesday, January 29th. This is a yearly census of our unhoused population. Volunteers are needed. You can contact Marlene Davis in Neighborhood Services for more information to sign up, and that information is on our website as well. Two recognition or a couple of items. One is the City of Winston-Salem was ranked number 6 on the top 50 most affordable places to retire, according to GoBankingReports.com. 2 other cities in the state were also on that list. And then, as I know you're all aware, we had crews that really worked around the clock, 12-hour shifts to treat and clear city streets during the recent snowstorm. The task was complicated by very low temperatures for an extended period of time. They've cleared all those roads, and I will tell you that they've brined the streets tonight just in case the weather moves a little further north than we're expecting. But we didn't see anything this afternoon, so hopefully we're in good shape for today. And then finally, in terms of the just a quick update on our cyber issues that we had. We have been keeping the media and the public briefed on what is going on. Our CityLink phone services will be back available tomorrow morning. So folks will be able to recall into those. We do not still have all of our backup systems in place. They're still being monitored, and we're making sure that all systems that can connect to those are free of any issues that might occur with those. So there still will be directed to do some different things, like online payments will still not be available. But really only a small portion of our population actually uses online payments. You can still send in checks. You can still come down and pay your bill in person as you normally would do. You can send it in the mail. You don't actually have to come down to City Hall to make your payments. So we're working on getting all of those things back up, and we'll have an update when those are done. But I told at the press conference last week, but our IS staff, I've been told by other folks that are outside our agency that are looking at what we've been doing, that they've done probably 6 to 8 months worth of work in the last 3.5 weeks. So they've really been working very hard to get our systems back in place and at a level that, as I said then, I believe that they believe, and I believe them as well, that we're going to have one of the safest local government systems anywhere in the country when this is all done. So that's a little bit of silver lining in what's going on. So with that, I'll stand ready to take any questions.
Mr. Pate? Thank you, sir. We do have a honorarium tonight, so City Clerk.
Resolution honoring the 2025 Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Young Dreamers Award recipients, Angelica Regalado Ciaza and James Singletary. Whereas the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Young Dreamers Award was established by the Winston-Salem Human Relations Commission in 2009, and whereas the purpose of the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Young Dreamers Award is to recognize 2 outstanding emerging or proven young adult leaders who reside in the city of Winston-Salem and have produced a meaningful result in community inclusiveness and race relations. And whereas the goal of the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Young Dreamers Award is to encourage young adults to participate in philanthropic, altruistic community involvement reflecting the spirit in which Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. lived and encouraged others to live. And whereas the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Young Dreamers are residents of Winston-Salem who have demonstrated outstanding work and dedication in the Winston-Salem community and can neither hold an executive leadership position within his or her organization nor be an elected government official. And whereas the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Young Dreamers have made a tangible difference in the lives of others who may have otherwise been overlooked, ignored, or disadvantaged. Specific examples include fostering positive race relations, vocalizing or acting against an injustice, leading inclusiveness among all individuals, embracing those who are perceived as being different, and celebrating religious diversity. The Young Dreamers' civic and/or community-oriented work has resulted in tangible results benefiting disenfranchised persons in the community. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Angelica Regalado-Cieza and James Singletary are recognized and honored as the 2025 Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Young Dreamers in the City of Winston-Salem.
Is there a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Taylor, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Adams. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
No one's opposed. That is unanimous. Monique Parks from the commission, is she here? And Mr. Christensen is here, of course.
We have a video.
In the heart of Southside Winston-Salem, one woman is working tirelessly to make a difference. Reverend Angelica Regalado-Cieza is a beacon of hope and inspiration for the first-generation Hispanic immigrants in her community. Her mission goes far beyond the pulpit. Pastor Angelica is dedicated to bringing educational opportunities to those who need them
Can we
most,
get some more volume?
offering financial literacy courses.
I think we need a work ticket for that. This has been going on a while.
and even music and tutoring classes for young children. She leads women's retreats, providing a safe space for personal growth and empowerment. And through every service and program, she fosters a sense of belonging, whether through ESL and reading classes, or just a listening ear for those navigating life in a new place. What sets Pastor Angelica apart is her unwavering commitment to collaboration. She partners with local organizations, schools, and community leaders across the Triad, knowing that together they can accomplish far more than any one person alone.
For her dedication to uplifting her community and her tireless service to those in need, Pastor Angelica has been nominated for the 2024 Martin Luther King Jr. Young Dreamers Award. A leader, a mentor, a servant, Pastor Angelica is lighting the way for a brighter future for Southside Winston-Salem.
In Winston-Salem, one man is transforming lives, on the field and beyond. James Singletary, founder of the Big Dogs Flag Football League, has made it his mission to give local youth a safe space to play, learn, and grow. The Big Dogs League is more than just a football program. It's inclusive, and it's about teaching young people the power of teamwork, discipline, and perseverance. He's committed to guiding young minds, helping them navigate the challenges of life with hope and confidence. James is always there, ready to listen, to guide, and to inspire. And when he's not mentoring and coaching, James serves as a sergeant in the Winston-Salem Police Department, where he works to protect and serve his community with integrity and dedication. Now, James Singletary has been nominated for the 2024 Martin Luther King Jr. Young Dreamers Award, a recognition of his relentless commitment to uplifting others and shaping a brighter future for all. A dreamer, a mentor, a leader, James Singletary is the kind of role model that makes a real difference, one life at a time.
Thank you. We're delighted to have the recipients here. Angelina, would you come up, Reverend? And Sergeant, would you come up? We're so thankful for the work that you do for our community, and we recognized, or Mayor Pro Tem did at the one of the events over the weekend. So we can put this. Either or both of you like to make a comment?
Good evening. I just wanted to say thank you. I feel humble by this recognition, and I do it all for my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, but that his love towards our neighbor is what encouraged me to work as hard as I'll let him speak, but as hard as we work, and we love to see unity and fellowship within our community. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I feel humbled to get this award. I just come from a family of people who like to serve and help people. I feel like if you have skills, my mother always told me that you can't sit on skills. God gives you things that you can do, so you make sure you share with everybody in the world. I appreciate it, and thank you for this award.
Thank you. Our sincere thanks to both of you for making our community a better place. Mm-hmm. Tonight's agenda of the City Council is comprised of two parts: the consent agenda, general agenda. Of course, the council takes the consent agenda as the first order of business. Items on this agenda have been unanimously recommended by a committee of the council or are being submitted in accordance with established city policy. There'll be no discussion of these items unless the council member so requests, in which event the item will be removed from consent agenda and considered individually. Items not removed from the consent agenda will be enacted with one motion. We're televising this meeting live tonight on TV's City YouTube page and TV 13, and it will be replayed tomorrow at 9 a.m. and again tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Of course, copies of our agendas as well as videos of previous meetings are always available online on the city's website, and just click on the Watch Council Meetings Online option. Council members, are there any items you wish to remove from the consent agenda?
I move for approval of the consent agenda.
Thank you. Is there a second? Second. Motion by Mayor Pro Tem, second by Councilmember Clark to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor of that motion, please indicate by saying aye. 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 Any opposed, no. And that is unanimous. We'll now move to the general agenda, which includes two public hearings for voluntary annexation. There are three public hearings for zoning petitions, as well as public hearings to amend the Unified Development Ordinance. When a public hearing is called, persons in the council chamber will be given an opportunity to speak. If there is opposition to the zoning public hearing item, the proponents and opponents will each be given 15 minutes for presentation and 3 minutes for a rebuttal. On the other public hearing items, speakers are asked to limit their comments to 3 minutes. If no one wishes to speak, I'll close the public hearing and the City Council will consider the item. May we have item G1, please?
Item G1, public hearing and consideration of a resolution for the voluntary annexation of approximately 26.966 acres located east of South Main Street and south of Jones Road, extending south from the eastern Mount Hope Drive street stub. The project is known as Mount Hope Estates, petition of Insure Development, LLC.
Thank you. Is there anyone in the council chamber who wishes to be heard on this public hearing for a voluntary annexation? All right, seeing no one, I'll declare the public hearing closed. This did come from the Public Works Committee. Councilmember Burke.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the City Council. I move for approval of item G1.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Scipio. Excuse me, Councilmember Joyner, excuse me. Any discussion of this item? Not all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. 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 Anyone opposed? No. And by the way, I am closing the public hearing as well. All right, item G2.
Item G2, public hearing and consideration of a resolution for the voluntary annexation of approximately 17.14 acres located west of South Main Street and south of Fishel Road, extending west from the Rink Road street stub. The project is known as Kershaw Commons, petition of True Homes, LLC.
Thank you. Is there anyone in the council chamber who wishes to be heard on this proposed voluntary annexation? Seeing no one, I'll declare the public hearing closed. And again, I'll recognize Councilmember Burke, Chairman of the Public Works Committee.
Thank you again. Mayor and members of the City Council, I move for approval of item G2.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Joyner, I think.
Was it Clark? Was Joyner?
All right, any discussion? Not all those in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, no. And that is unanimous. Thank you. Item G3.
Item G3, public hearing and consideration of zoning petition of site plan amendment of App Winston-Salem LTD Partnership, W3636, for changes to modify the previously approved site plan to include an out parcel within the existing parking lot to accommodate retail services and restaurant with drive-through. Property is located at the southeast intersection of Haynes-Mall Boulevard and Kester Mill Road. Located in the Southwest Ward, Planning Board recommends approval of petition.
Thank you. Is there anyone in the council chamber who is opposed to this proposed site plan amendment? The petitioner is here if there are any questions. Seeing no opposition, I'll declare the public hearing closed and recognize Councilmember Scott Andre Bowen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move for approval of 1, the statement of consistency for approval of this item, and 2, W-3636.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Hall. Any discussion? Not all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No. And that is unanimous. Thank you. Item G4.
Item G4, public hearing and consideration of zoning petition of City of Winston-Salem, W3638, from County RS9 to County RS9 to City RS9. Property is located at the southern terminus of Mount Hope Drive, located in the Southeast Ward. Planning Board recommends approval of petition.
This is simply a little house cleaning as the two items we just annexed into the city. We're changing the zoning from county to city. This is a public hearing. However, does anyone want to be heard on this item? Seeing no one, I will declare the public hearing closed and again recognize Councilmember Andre Bowen.
This site is in the south.
Oh, I'm sorry, Southeast. I beg your pardon.
Sure.
I'm trying to work you too hard, Councilmember.
Thank you, Mayor. Members of the council, I move for approval of 1, the statement of consistency for approval of this item, and 2, W-3639.
Second.
Second by Mayor Pro Tem Adams. Any discussion? Not all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. That's unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item G5.
Item G5, public hearing and consideration of zoning petition of City of Winston-Salem, W-3639, from County RS9 to City RS9. Property is located at the western terminus of Rink Road, located in the Southeast Ward. Planning Board recommends approval of petition.
Thank you. Again, this is a public hearing. Does anyone in the council chamber wish to be heard on this proposed rezoning? Seeing no one, I'll declare the public hearing closed and recognize Councilmember Taylor.
I move for approval of 1, the statement of consistency for approval of this item, and 2, W-3639.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Joyner. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No. And that is unanimous. Thank you. Item G6.
Item G6, public hearing and consideration to modify Chapter 4 of the Unified Development Ordinances to amend provisions for single-family uses within residential multifamily zoning districts, UDO CC 28.
Before we do the public hearing, I'd like to ask Mr. Murphy just to give us a very brief summary of what this item entails.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, members of City Council. This is a text amendment that staff initiated to address an issue that we found. I will essentially skip forward a little bit. This will allow for a more consistent lot size in our residential building multifamily districts for a single family use. We discovered for a single family home that our minimum lot size was all over the place. It didn't make a lot of sense. So we standardized that to basically say that any single family home only requires a 5,000 square foot lot within multifamily, which is consistent with our least intense district, RM5. And that's what this text amendment achieves. And it did go to both the Planning Board and to the Community Development, Housing, and General Government Committee, and both gave a unanimous recommendation for approval.
Any
With that,
questions?
I'm ready to answer any questions.
Any questions to Mr. Murphy? Thank you. This is a public hearing. Does anyone in the council chamber who wishes to be heard on this proposed UDO text amendment? Seeing no one, I'll declare the public hearing closed. And this did come through a General Government Committee, I believe. That's the motion, Mayor Pro Tem.
Yeah. I move for approval of 1, the statement of consistency for approval of this item, and 2, UDO CC 28.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Joyner. Any discussion? Not all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, no. And that's unanimous. Thank you. And now item G7.
Item G7, public hearing and consideration to amend Chapters 3, 4, 10, and 11 of the Unified Development Ordinances to align language regarding the Historic Resources Commission with the North Carolina General Statutes, UDO-CC 29.
Again, Mr. Murphy, would you give us a quick, brief summary?
I probably won't give you more of a summary than what was just read, but this really does take, there were some changes to the general statute. It was found that we had some provisions in our historic resources section of the ordinance that weren't consistent with that, related to some procedures and some other technical corrections. So this was sent through in conjunction with review by both the city and county attorney staff. And again, it went to the planning board and to community development, housing, and general government, and had a unanimous recommendation for approval.
Just cleaning up some statutes there.
Correct.
Any questions for Mr. Murphy? Thank you. This came from the General Government Committee as well, Mayor Pro Tem.
Mm-hmm.
You need a public hearing. Oh, this is public hearing. Thank you. Anyone like to be heard on this proposed UDO text amendment? Seeing no one, I'll declare the public hearing closed, and now I'll recognize Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you. I move for approval. 1, approval of the statement of consistency for the approval of this item, and 2, UDO CC 29.
Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember Joyner. Any discussion? Not all those in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, vote no. And that's, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Just wanted to go back to item G4. I believe that Councilmember Taylor said 3639. That was for item number 5. We just need to make sure that the record reflects that he was approving, making a motion to approve 3638.
38, okay.
Yes.
That is correct.
For the record, thank you.
Good. Thank you for catching that, Attorney. All right, next item, please.
Public comment.
This is the time once per month that we invite members of the public to voice their opinions on matters that are germane to city government. When the public comment period is called, we will set aside 30 minutes for comments, and each speaker will be allowed 3 minutes. We'd ask that you give your name and address for the record as we go forward. I'd like to also point out that speakers are encouraged to use other channels such as committee, complaint procedure, the city manager's and city attorney's office, rather than the public comment period, to discuss the following matters: personnel, litigation, property acquisition, and matters that are subject to the attorney-client privilege, as well as confidential matters. Public comments should also pertain to issues relative to city government. City council will not necessarily respond to public comments during the meeting, but may address them at a later date or ask staff to follow up. Speakers are encouraged to be civil and courteous in their language and presentation. Insults, profanity, use of vulgar language or gestures, or other inappropriate behaviors are discouraged. Engaged in such conducts may result in a forfeiture of any remaining speaking time. So we'll move forward. First person signed up is Kamika Shavers, please.
Wow, we got a new clock.
I can see that.
That's a big clock.
That's not me, Shavers.
It's Mekon Evans, not Shavers.
I'm sorry,
I live at 990 East 2nd Street, and I'm here on behalf of Crystal Towers. I am a member of the Housing Justice.
This is the
Shavers.
Shavers did sign up first on this item.
Oh, is it Shavers?
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me.
Yes. Ms. Shavers, please. If If you give your name and address for the record, Ms. Shavers.
You got 3 minutes.
Good evening. My name is Kwame Kia Shavers, and my address is 3850 Heatherview Lane, Winston-Salem, North Carolina, 27127. Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and the members of the council. I did hear your precursor for these matters, but I did send an email and no one responded, so I thought that this was the correct protocol to do, is to present it before the council and the city manager, because the book states that it has to be concurrence of the city council and the city manager to make this decision. So I respectfully request a resolution instructing the City of Winston-Salem City Manager Patrick Pate to disclose any violations or disciplinary actions taken involving Chief William Penn Jr. Transparency in these matters are essential for maintaining public trust and accountability within our city government. Citing the City of Winston-Salem Employee Handbook, September 2019 revision, the possible disciplinary actions include written warning, suspension, and dismissal. Furthermore, on page 123, it states the city manager, with the concurrence of the city council, may inform any person of the employment or non-employment, promotion, demotion, suspension, or other disciplinary action, reinstatement, transfer, or termination of a city employee and the reasons for that personnel action. Before releasing the information, the city manager or city council shall determine in writing that the release is essential to maintaining public confidence in the administration of city services or to maintain the level and or quality city services. This written determination shall be retained in the city manager's office or city secretary's office and will be available for public inspection or shall become part of the employee's personnel file. I filed a complaint on October the 11th, 2023 with Professional Standards Division with Captain Crystal Pritchard for the abuse of power, where Chief Penn, in a letter from Attorney Michael Grace, alleged that I had extorted him. On March 26, 2024, Chief Penn was found in violation of the Winston-Salem Police Department directives. After the violation was issued, later that year, Chief Penn had alleged that I committed another crime, had me investigated by the State Bureau of Investigations, where they decided not to pursue charges. Additionally, it is important to note that Chief William Penn Jr. has been involved in previous behavior that was unbecoming of a city leader and employee in 2019. While the charges were dismissed, it's significant to recognize that in the state of North Carolina, 56.29% cases filed with defendants charged with a violent offense are dismissed. This further underscores the need for clarity and openness regarding any actions taken. Not only was the letter intended to instill fear through the abuse of power by referencing William Penn in his official capacity as the chief of the Winston-Salem Police Department, but it also attacked my character. The tone of the letter felt like a form of blackmail, implying if I did not comply with certain demands, then X, Y, and Z consequences would follow.
Ms. Shavers, I'm sorry, but your time is up.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Carol Hoover.
Good evening, Mayor Joins, Mayor Pro Tem Adams, and City Council members. My name is Carol Hoover, and I live at 515 Archer Road. I am the chair of the Bicycle, Pedestrian, Active Mobility Advisory Committee. Thank you for supporting the committee's request to add a change to HB 817 to the legislative agenda. Tonight, our committee is presenting 3 recommendations for consideration in the 2025 strategic plan. The first recommendation is to increase the maintenance budget for sidewalks, trails, greenways, and bicycle lanes. The second recommendation is to increase funding for transit to provide safe access to bus stops with high visibility crosswalks and additional bus shelters to protect transit users from inclement weather. The third recommendation is to expand staffing, as recommended in 2 prior master plans that include a livable streets coordinator and a livable streets coordinator who will enhance efficient development of safe streets and livable communities by coordinating all transportation programs, funding sources, opportunities, and project deliveries. The second position is a Greenway Program Coordinator, responsible for coordinating all activities to trail planning, funding, development, and maintenance across departments managing greenways and trails. Transportation serves all populations and is crucial for effective neighborhood growth and planning. According to Forward 2045 plan, walkable, connected neighborhoods are essential for residents of Winston-Salem. Currently, funding for sidewalk maintenance is sourced solely from the city's annual budget or from bonds. The average lifespan of a concrete sidewalk is only 25 years. With over 500 miles of sidewalks in the city, 20 miles would need to be replaced annually to maintain the existing infrastructure. The annual maintenance budget is used for more than just sidewalks and currently totals $900,000. The budget has remained the same or decreased for several years now. It is time to focus on maintenance and infrastructure. Greenways and trails, often perceived as recreational spaces, also serve as vital transportation routes for vulnerable road users. However, insufficient maintenance has led to the deterioration of some greenways. The Bowen Branch Greenway has been closed since 2019. The Newell, Massey, and Muddy Creek greenways are experiencing collapsing creek banks, which might have been avoided with regular maintenance. The current lack of regular maintenance is detrimental to these vital transportation routes. The committee considers funding to maintain our sidewalks, bicycle lanes, greenways, and trails vital. This would provide safer pathways for residents who engage in active mobility and healthier lifestyles. These three recommendations align with the identified focus areas of the city. I will leave each of you a document with additional information. Thank you for your time today and for serving the city. Please consider these recommendations when you create the strategic plan for the next 4 years.
Thank you, Ms. Hoover. Now, Ms. Evans, I believe you're up.
So my name is Mekon Evans, and I live at 990 East 2nd Street here in Winston-Salem. And I'm here on behalf of Crystal Towers. I am a member of the Housing Justice Now, as well as Crystal Towers United. And the points I want to make is 3 years ago this month, the mayor promised that the city would assist with the $10 million in funding it would take to make Crystal Towers a decent and safe place for our seniors and poorest neighbors to live. So far, the city has done nothing, and we need that to change. The city has the power through code enforcement to force the housing authority to make essential repairs, such as the plumbing issues residents have identified. We would like for you not to absolve yourselves from trying to get what's done, only because the housing authority is the landlord does not permit it where any of you guys can help them get the plumbing that's needed. In Crystal Towers, the plumbing is so bad, the water is going through the ceiling, through the walls, which is causing mold and mildew. And as we know, people in this building have sicknesses already, and mold will kill you. We need someone to go in there and clean this up. You guys are on a platform. We're pouring our hearts out to you all to help us to get this building up to code and up to standard, because I don't live there, but it's also an issue for me to go there because I have Graves' disease and I have a low immune system. So if I'm visiting people in the building, it may kill me. So just imagine what it's doing to each and every individual that's living inside of this building. It only takes one person to make a change. These people worked for the City of Winston-Salem before they became who they are in this building. They gave a lot to this city. Why not have our city to give back to these people? Let's show them that we all care about how they're living, what's going on in their neighborhood, what's going on in this building. As Housing Justice Now and Crystal Towers United, we are not going anywhere. We're going to continue to come. We're going to continue to fight for these people. They need to see that other people care about them as well as we do. Please, I'm asking you all, please help us to get this building up to code and fix the plumbing issues that are going on. It's just too much, and enough is enough. And we need to stand up for these people and be united. Isn't that what we all want? That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Samuel Greer.
My name is Samuel Greer. Mr. Mayor Allen and Mayor Pro Tem Denise Adams and the rest of the City Council. We do have a plumbing problem at Crystal Towers. My situation is when I sit on the commode, I can actually rock myself. And if I wanted to, I can pick the whole commode up if I wanted to. This is outrageous. Also, I am being targeted. You know, I don't want to talk about it too much because I am in litigation. They have false charges against me. But getting back to Crystal Towers, we as a people that live in Crystal Towers, we deserve more. And your help will greatly improve our living conditions. Please stop passing the buck between the City of Winston-Salem and the Housing Authority of Winston-Salem. Mr. Mayor, you promised 3 years ago. We have yet to see anything relating to your promise. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Greer. Rhonda Robinson.
Hello, Mayor and Council. My name is Rhonda Robinson. I reside at 625 West 6th Street in Crystal Towers. I've been a resident there now 2 years, and the plumbing been horrible the whole time I've been there. I sometimes regret even moving there, but I had no choice. There's a lot of fixtures that need to be talked about. However, the plumbing is the main issue. When you first walk in the building, you can sometimes smell the mold. People are hauled off in an ambulance every day due to illness. I don't know if it's from the mold or it's from the plumbing or where it's from, but it needs to be addressed immediately. Please. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Robinson. Gwendolyn Hart. Gwendolyn Hart.
My name is Gwendolyn Hay.
Hey, I'm sorry.
And I'm going to yield my time to this gentleman. I live in Crystal Tower as well.
All right.
Thank you. I'm Dan Rose. I live at 1332 Pleasant Street. And
Rose, you signed up later on here. Are you taking your time?
Yeah, I'll cross that off.
Thank you very much.
So Ms. Hay has been a longtime resident at Crystal Towers. And I think took a big step forward tonight just by coming to City Council. And I know it takes a lot of bravery for common people and, residents of the city to get up here and speak their piece. But she, like many others, are experiencing plumbing issues. And for years, we have been asking the city to step forward and fulfill their promise to help the Housing Authority renovate that building. In 2017, the Housing Authority conducted a needs assessment and found that the building would need $7 million in repairs over 20 years. So if you do the math, it would be a $350,000 commitment per year to guarantee good quality housing to our most marginalized neighbors in this city for a whole generation. It's a no-brainer to me that would be a worthwhile investment. Unfortunately, some of the members of the last city council did not agree, including their own representative in the Northwest Ward. But now we have a new city council, and we have many of them who have committed on public record to supporting the city's follow-through on that commitment to help repair the building. Times have gone by, though. It's been 8 years since they conducted that needs assessment. And a 2021 needs assessment, the price tag went up to $10 million. Again, it's still spread across 20 years, so it'd still only be $500,000 per year that you could start now. And the residents have identified for you the main issue. It's not the only issue. They're dealing with bed bugs. They're dealing with electrical outlets that don't work. They're dealing with appliances that don't work. They're dealing with cabinets that are falling off the walls. But the plumbing issue has been a sore spot for residents for years there, and it's causing the walls and the ceilings to deteriorate. Mr. Mayor, you visited Crystal Towers several months ago, and we showed you in the lobby. That's the only thing that's been upgraded there in years. But they put brand new ceiling tiles, and you can already see the brown spots of the water leaking down. And the Housing Authority has mismanaged this property. We need you not only to provide funding, but guidance to them. As they seem to have put the cart before the horse, they put new ceiling tiles in the lobby before they fixed the plumbing. So now we've got brand new ceiling tiles that are water damaged. And we know that the health issues that come, as Ms. Evans has pointed out and others have pointed out, are literally killing people there. They're shortening people's lives, and they're hurting people who live there as well as their visitors. So we ask you, and we ask this new council to take leadership and follow through on the promise to fix Crystal Towers. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rose. Matthew Mayers.
My name is Matthew Mayers. I live at 2844 Wesleyan Lane. Thank you for this opportunity to speak. Thanks also to those of you, I think there were 3 of you in attendance to help celebrate the graduation of the first cohort of trainees in the Solarize the Triad program to learn how to be solar installers. So thanks for that, especially to Mayor Pro Tem for bringing a proclamation from the mayor declaring December 13th, 2024 is Solarize the Triad Day. That was a good feeling, I think, for the graduates and a bunch of us in the room as well. I'm here really to urge you towards considering very carefully your sustainability priorities when you go into your strategic planning sessions in the coming days. You'll probably recall that a little over 4 years ago, this council passed some pretty ambitious plans in a sustainability resolution, but there's still a lack of budgeting for that. So I hope that you'll very carefully consider how that might be changed over time. Many of the things that you could spend money on would actually save money in the long run for the city. So I hope you'll think about those energy efficiency spendings, as well as cleaning up our air, cleaning up our water, and just making it a better city to live in. You saw earlier this evening, you have a top-notch director of sustainability. Give her some money. Let her do the work. But maybe even more importantly, she needs more staff. She's got a good staff, but it's small, and many of them are not focused on the areas that really are starting to need more focus for energy use and efficiency. And while you're thinking about those potential staffing issues for sustainability, one thing that is dear to my heart is having people who work for the city, but who consider the things that the city government can do to enable the rest of the community to live into our sustainability promises. Things like studying rezoning within the city that can help us not only have a more sustainable environment, but can help an awful lot with the housing issues that we're experiencing. We have a distorted housing market because we, like most American cities, have restrictive zoning. There's a bunch of things we can't do, like build multifamily housing in certain places that would alleviate a lot of that pressure. So that's one. Other things could also be explored. And I'm running out of time, but I'll just say, please, when you're doing your strategic planning, I hope that sustainability will be very high on your priority list. Thank you.
Olivia Doyle. Oh, here.
Olivia Doyle, 112 West Devonshire Street. I want to thank Director Fansler of the DOT, as well as my own Councilmember Joyner, for speaking to the Parkland intersection issue at the beginning of council today. But to speak on the issue more broadly, the city is zoning commercial plots right next to Parkland High, and we're also seeing mixed commercial, residential, and public school zoning across the city. And this is, at Parkland in particular, attracting students to trending businesses, like Sheetz and Starbucks in particular, across one of the deadliest intersections in Winston. I won't reiterate what we've already heard. But to Director Fansler's point, we have suggested, we being Hate Out, and also more than 300 now other residents of the city who have, I'm sure, written emails that you have seen, recommended 3 main improvements, which is a crossing guard for school drop-off, lunch, and pickup, school zone markings, and a full-stop crosswalk, which utilizes something called exclusive pedestrian phasing. I would hope that this is included in the NC and the Winston-Salem DOT's recommendation for how to actually install the lighted crosswalk that was mentioned earlier. For the crossing guard, Superintendent McManus and WSFCS, which for those who don't know is county, their safety teams are trying to get a police traffic guard, so we're asking that you all as the city push the chief of police to approve a rover for that intersection. This can be done like within the next week. She's already spoken to their safety team. She and other members of the Board of Education will be at Parkland, I believe, within the next week to check out the intersection and really try to advocate to get a crossing guard there. And we hope to see that crossing guard there from within the next week or so until August when these permanent installations are made. We are also seeing that the Sheetz is being constructed extremely quickly. I live down that street, and all the lighting is already up. All of the interior renovations are pretty much done, so I expect it to be done within like a matter of weeks. And that means that a traffic guard is going to be a matter of life and death within a few days for many of these students. As for the 2 longer-term solutions, we've discussed funding and timelines, as was mentioned today. Director Fansler said in an email that the City of Winston-Salem allocates intersection safety improvement money from the motor vehicle privilege tax to speak to Councilmember Scipio's questions about funding. So funding can't be guaranteed by this tax locally or federally. We would ask that the city turn towards the commercial businesses that profit in that area, namely Aldi, Starbucks, BP, Sheetz, Gabe's, and Planet Fitness, for community investment funds. We actually met with Representative Kanika Brown, and she indicated support for this in our meetings by committing to develop a plan to negotiate community investment funds alongside Senator Lowe and Representative Fox. And we're trying to get a follow-up meeting with Senator Lowe that we would like council members to attend. We will email you when we get that info. Finally, we would encourage the city to not zone commercial unless it has a plan to hold those plots owners accountable for consumer and student safety. When we spoke at the Board of Education, they indicated that the city didn't consult with them before zoning these lots.
Time is up.
So,
thank you, Ms. Doyle. Miranda Jones.
Good evening, Miranda Jones, 405 Corona Street. It's a lot of melanin up here. Y'all look good. Somebody needs to run for mayor. No disrespect, mayor. Somebody needs to run for mayor. Mayor Pro Tem, members of City Council. I'm here as an educator and resident of the city. First and foremost, I'm kind of alarmed by the silence around Hate Out's request for an oversight committee for Bear. Councilmember Taylor, we've sent multiple emails and made numerous phone calls to you, and we have not heard back. We would like to speak at the Public Safety Committee meeting to talk about how we can actually make that happen. So please respond to us regarding the matter. We would like to establish transparency and trust for the people as it relates to Bear. My comrade just spoke about the equally pressing matter regarding Peters Creek and Brewer around Parkland. I want to thank CM Joyner and even my own representative, CM Bowen, for your responsiveness, and Mayor Pro Tem for emailing me back, because y'all know I'm going to keep emailing until we get an answer. Right now, it is incumbent upon us to make sure that children are safe. I teach these children at Parkland every day, and I can tell you right now that there is nothing that's going to stop them from going to Sheetz to get that food, because cafeteria food pales in comparison to what Sheetz is going to offer. I just saw students going across the street this morning to go to get whatever it is that they love to get over at Starbucks. So the fact that these businesses have been allowed to be zoned there, really does trouble me. Thank you to Director Fansler, excuse me if I'm saying your name wrong, for presenting a detailed plan for pedestrian safety improvements, including the crossing signals on all 4 corners of the intersection and school zone markings. We would like the same things that we have for children at Summit School and Lutheran School, where folks know when they're going down those busy streets. We want to see that for the children at Parkland, because they deserve to be just as safe safe as children are in other areas of our city. We want to see that street marked with the sign that says school, right? Because as CM Joyner pointed out, you don't know that you're at Parkland until you're at Parkland, right? And folks are not going to slow down for anybody crossing that street. So we ask that you all do lean in and that you do press Winston-Salem PD, particularly Chief Penn, to put a crossing guard out there. As my comrade told you, Superintendent McManus as well as Jonathan Wilson of security, they're going to be at Parkland on the 27th as it relates to school safety, to look at our parking lot, to look at Brewer, to look at Buchanan. They'll be at Parkland this week, but it's more about what's happening internally, and then the 27th is what's happening outside of the building. So the things that we have for children in other areas of our city are the same things that we're asking you to press folks for, because as Olivia just told you, the sheets is coming and it's coming fast. I know when I go to Gabe's to get things for my classroom, I see some of my very own students in Gabe's and saying, hey, how you doing, Sister Miranda? So I'm asking that you take this serious, that you help find the funding. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, for the grant information. I'm asking that your staff apply for those grants to see if we can't secure money, because I can tell you that my students are equally as ready for those businesses as the people who travel up and down those busy streets. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jones. Cynthia Herson.
Hi, thanks for letting me speak. I know we're over the time, but greetings. My name is Cynthia Herson. I reside at 1200 Willie Davis Drive, even though I'm temporarily relocated. I come up here to talk about what's really going on. Mayor Jones, I want to call you out because I'm glad that somebody does answer their email, but most of us, when we email you all are not answering back. I want to come up here to tell y'all that we got some new people on board, so I would like for you all to help us put the wind back in Winston-Salem, because from where I stand, you all are taking the money out of Winston-Salem, giving them to bigger corporation, and we're losing. Y'all let Dale do it years before, and y'all doing it again with the housing projects and many others. Also, I got a parking ticket for $85 because I patronize Famous Toastery. If you all have the time, go by there and park where I parked at. It was at the handicap position, and it was in front of Famous Toastery, and it did not have any signs that said I had to pay to park. So guess what? It didn't apply to me. But guess what? I got a ticket from Professional Parking Management that is located in Florida. Now, I don't know if they located down here in Winston-Salem, but when I looked them up, it was in Florida. Can you all tell me why? I'm sorry, I gotta be. Why is money going out of Winston-Salem when we got capable people down here that can manage parking, including the city of Winston-Salem? Y'all parking tickets are cheaper. Now, who gonna pay this $85 ticket? Because you know I'm not. So I need y'all to help me out to tell these folks that that is too much to be charging somebody that's going onto their lot to patronize them for and giving them my money, because I don't even go out, but I was patronizing a friend that was having a birthday. So guess what? Y'all need to do something about that. First of all, y'all need to stop that, because y'all need to put the money back into Winston-Salem, give somebody that's capable down here, and in fact, give me the knowledge to get that information where I can manage the parking management. You know what I'm saying? But that ticket is too high. We need to do something about it, and we need to keep the money back into Winston-Salem for people like me. And also, I don't have time to talk about the affordability, because I understand where y'all going with affordability, but guess what? We're concentrating on the low income and the moderate income. So I need y'all to think about that and these houses and things that y'all are putting people out. You see what I'm saying? So when I email you, Mayor, everybody else, please answer me so I don't have to keep on coming down here. Thank you. Y'all have a good day.
Abigail Lightfoot.
Hi, my name is Abigail Lightfoot, 2129 Storm Canyon. I am also here to talk about the Peters Creek, how dangerous it is, and I'm so glad that the city is taking time to put solutions in. The problem is that summer, we have a whole school semester where students could potentially get hit by cars. So I definitely support having a more short-term solution, such as the crossing guard, to make sure that students are safe. Because we all live in this city, and we all want to be safe and have safety and knowing that we can cross the street and not die. Also with that, you should fix the plumbing at Crystal Towers, because everyone deserves to have working plumbing. Whether you own or rent, you should have working plumbing, and it is the city's responsibility to do that. Thank you so much.
Sharon Williams.
Shari Williams, 1900 Queen Street. I'm glad to have this opportunity. Last year I became an avid bus rider. Since that time, I've come in contact with bus operators who deny me a bus transfer after I've paid my fare. The reasons for denial seem to be arbitrary. I'm questioned about my travel plans, i.e. where I'm going, what bus, the next bus that I'm taking. This line of questioning is inappropriate, unsafe for me to have in front of a bus full of other riders, and time consuming, not to mention it can be contentious. My interpretation of the rule is if I pay $1 and I ask for a transfer, I should get it. If I'm right, I ask that this practice ceases immediately. Whether I'm right or wrong, I ask that because there seems to be a burden to educate riders by the bus operators about the transfer policy, I believe there should be a marketing campaign to educate about the transfer policy. That way they can alleviate these type of interactions. Also, if anyone knows a reputable certified mechanic, holla, and all eyes on Crystal Towers.
Thank you. I will close the public comment period. Before we adjourn, as Councilmember Andre Bowen asked to be recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. Just want to take a quick opportunity to say thank you to city staff for the past month who have really worked hard to kind of keep our operations going. The IT staff for the amazing job they did, and over the snowstorm, just thank you to all the people in the utilities and the street cleaning, and all the people who were working to fix all the water main breaks, and all the first responders who went out into the dangerous elements to be first responders to the people in need. So I just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Howell.
Yes, quickly, I think Mr. Greer stepped out, but if there are still remaining folks from Crystal Towers that have a couple of minutes after the council meeting, if you could meet with me on the side. Thanks.
Thank you. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Joyner. All in favor of adjourning, please say aye.
Aye.
You're adjourned.